So now let's talk about the Western Conference. Specifically, who I believe is going to make it out of the West and represent the conference in the NBA Finals. And to be honest with you, if we want to talk about seedings, I don't think it really matters. Because in the Western Conference, the difference between like the 2nd seed and the 6th seed will be like 4 games tops. To the point where we don't really need to talk about it, okay? And to be honest with you, I think there's about 5 teams who I could really see making it out of the West into the finals. The 5 teams would be the Warriors, the Rockets, the Thunder, the Spurs, and the Clippers. And just for the sake of it, I think the other 3 playoff teams will be the Pelicans, the Grizzlies, and the Utah Jazz, or the Sacramento Kings. Flip a coin with those 2. But really, we want to keep it about the top of the conference because we want to talk about who we think is going to make it out. Well, the best thing we can do is talk about each of the 5 teams. Start with the Golden State Warriors, the defending NBA champions. They didn't lose anyone, and their roster is exactly the same as it was last season, which would make you think they'd be just as good. However, the one concern I have is Andrew Bogut, because Bogut, he's still injury prone. He just didn't get hurt last year. But if he goes down this season, that's going to be a blow to their defense. Weirdly enough, it might not actually hurt him too much when it comes to offense and rebounding because Festus Ezeli seems to be pretty decent. But as we know, Bogut is one of the better defensive centers in the NBA, so it's going to hurt him there. And also, when I think about Bogut, he was pretty much useless against the Cleveland Cavaliers because the Warriors had to go super small to counteract the fact that Cleveland was just way too big for them. Now, the Warriors did have a counter for what Cleveland was doing with their huge lineup with Thompson and Mozgov, but the Cavaliers found a way, or at least they happened to find a way to get Bogut off the floor. So, if teams can experiment with that type of thing and force the Warriors to adjust to smaller lineups, it's an adjustment you have to force Golden State to make, and anything can happen from that. Yeah, they won in the finals, but you give these NBA coaches, you give them a full training camp to figure out ways to go against the Warriors and force them to go small and then play off of that. Like, it just opens up more options and you don't know what can happen from that. Okay? So, it's a concern. It's not even a concern. It's just a thing that might happen with the Warriors that we have to talk about. But still, I think Golden State, right at the top of the conference, could easily make it to the finals and win it again. Let's talk about the San Antonio Spurs. Of course, they were the winners in free agency, picking up LaMarcus Aldridge as well as David West. That being said, San Antonio, there's a few things I'm not loving. First off, Tony Parker just had a bad season last year. I mean, the guy he might be declining. He might be transitioning to the second phase of his career because 14 points, like 5 assists, a little slower. Weirdly enough, he shot very well from 3, but then again, he didn't take many threes. Shot well from the field, period, actually, but just the aggressiveness, the ability to take over a game at times, it just wasn't really there for Tony Parker. And in the playoffs, he averaged about 13-4 against the Clippers. That's just not that great, to be honest. We also look at Manu Ginobili, who's on the decline as well. Just look at his stats, and not much I need to tell you there. But that being said, the acquisition of LaMarcus Aldridge, on top of Kawhi Leonard being there, and the fact that Tim Duncan has still been able to maintain his impact, San Antonio is going to be very good. Now, one of the strengths for the Spurs has always been their bench. If we're looking at the backup point guard position, Patty Mills, I do like Patty Mills. And I do like David West at the backup power forward position, but besides that, I mean, we look at the backup 2. I already mentioned Manu Ginobili. They lost Marco Bellinelli. For the 3 spot, there's Kyle Anderson, who played very well in Summer League, but I mean, we're asking Kyle Anderson to go from not really playing last season to being a key member off the San Antonio bench. I mean, it's a lot to ask for. Can he do it? I mean, it's the Spurs. They're perfect at doing this sort of thing. But at the same time, I mean, it's a question. And the backup center position, that's kind of up in the air as well because they don't have Tiago Splitter anymore. Now, I do support them getting rid of Splitter because they needed him to get Aldridge, but it's a question. They're going to have to address it. And they are the San Antonio Spurs, so I think they can and will, but until they do, it's a little bit of uncertainty that I have to address. Next, the Los Angeles Clippers. They made a lot of additions this offseason, which they should have because their bench was terrible last season. I really like Paul Pierce. I like Josh Smith if he behaves. I do not like Lance Stevenson. Not because I think Stevenson is done, but because I just don't like Austin Rivers, Jamal Crawford, and Lance Stevenson next to each other. 3 guys who need the ball in their hand. 3 guys who do not shoot a very good percentage. Or at least Stevenson didn't last season. And none of these guys are spot-up players. I just don't see how they're going to play off of each other. Like, at least one of them has to go, maybe even 2 of them have to go. And then I think it could really work because one of them could become the primary ball handler and they could have guys to pass off to for shots. I just don't like this. I don't like the Clippers' backup backcourt situation. However, the rest of the roster is really damn good. Who else do I have? The Houston Rockets. They're really good, man. Looking at the roster, the acquisition of Ty Lawson is huge because now James Harden doesn't have to do as much. And if we can get a full, healthy season out of Dwight Howard, I think that could really, really be what the Rockets need to take them to the top of the conference. Maybe not in terms of seeding, but in just terms of how good they are, and potentially get out of the West. One little thing I would do is I would probably have Monty Eunice come off the bench because they have enough offense in their starting 5. They got Ty Lawson, James Harden. That's all you need. So I would like to see Monty Eunice come off the bench. That way it gives them another score once one of them goes to the bench or whatever. But I guess my only concern with Houston would be their backup wing positions. Because right now they have... I assume Jason Terry would be playing more shooting guard, seeing as Beverly is going to be playing backup point guard behind Lawson. So it's Jason Terry, who I just don't know if he can hold on. I mean, he didn't shoot very well against the Warriors in the conference finals, but then again, he was starting. Corey Brewer, who I like a little bit of the time, made some big plays against the Clippers. You can't deny that in the playoffs, but game to game, Corey Brewer's is really, really up and down. KJ McDaniels, I like KJ McDaniels, I just don't know how much of an offensive game he has. And then they have Marcus Thornton, who is an okay spot-up shooter at this point in his career. So, I don't think that set of wings will necessarily be bad. I just don't know how much of an impact they'll really make. So, I mean, it's just a concern I have. I have to address my little concerns with each team. And finally, the Oklahoma City Thunder. The one little thing with the Thunder that I'm concerned with is the shooting guard position. Because their options right now are Andre Robertson, Anthony Morrow, Dion Waiters, and Kyle Singler. Now, Robertson I think he's going to be the guy starting. He is a very good defensive player, one of the better ones in the league. However, his offensive game, it kind of sucks. And if you've got a guy who just flat out can't score on your team, it really hurts you, even when you have Westbrook and Durant and Cantor and Ibaka around him. So if Robertson can be decent from the three-point line, I think that could really help them out. And that would make him the easy choice for shooting guard and would probably be a perfect fit, to be honest. But that is a lot to ask for, seeing as he's never been a real scorer in the NBA, even a capable one. Not even someone who's going to give you double-digit scoring, but just someone who can hit an open shot. So, let's look at the other options. Dion Waiters, no, because he's a terrible player, point blank. Anthony Morrow, very good shooter, not much of a defender. Basically the opposite of Andre Robertson. Now, that type of thing can help you in spurts, but in certain instances, you're just going to want a guy who can play defense. So right off the bat, Andre Robertson and Anthony Morrow, they have contrasting styles. So the last one would be Kyle Singler. And I think Kyle Singler is kind of the medium between Morrow and Robertson. So I think Kyle Singler may be the right choice for the starting two-guard spot. But that's going to be a topic that OKC has to address. But here's the reason why I think OKC is the favorite in the West. They have 2 trade pieces. They got Mitch McGary and Steven Adams. Both play center. If OKC gets to around the 30-game mark and they realize that they've got a problem somewhere on the team, and who knows what it could be. I mean, I think it'll end up being the shooting guard position, or it could be the shooting guard position, but who knows what it could be. They could trade McGary or Adams to fill that position. So, and then they'll still be able to play the other one. And then at that point, I'm looking at Westbrook, whoever the hell the shooting guard would be, Durant, Ibaka, Cantor, DJ Augustine. Your backup is either going to be Morrow or Singler. That team's just really good, man. And then you're still going to have McGary or Steven Adams playing center. That's my favorite in the West, the Oklahoma City Thunder. It really is. Billy Donovan, the new head coach, going to give Westbrook and Durant proper plays and everything. They have someone to throw the ball down to in Cantor. So, we've been going for about 11 minutes now. It's probably the longest video I've made in forever. I think OKC is my favorite to come out of the West. And I'm just going to, I mean, look, the difference between these 5 teams, it's really minimal. So I wouldn't be surprised with any of them making it out. But if I had to pick one, I'm going to go with the Oklahoma City Thunder because, I mean, I already said it. I took like 3 minutes to say it, so just rewind if you forgot. I think that's going to do it. I'm sure this video will spark conversation, which is exactly what I want. Let's go and do it.